Role-playing games, especially Dungeons & Dragons, have been exploding in popular culture and inspired many famous books, movies, music, etc. And essentially this is a game that's played in the collective imagination of a group of players, usually friends. And here are some tips about how to actually get the most out of this game by applying personality psychology. It's a trick that's used by a lot of game masters in designing characters and NPCs, thinking of what's an actual real kind of person like and how does their brain work and how can I create realistic people. Even a lot of actors use this for acting. But you can apply this yourself in understanding, if you're new to the game, what kinds of races and classes are good to fit with you, and also if you're a game master, to understand the different kinds of ways that you can actually adjust the game based on the personalities of the people that are in the group to make it the most fun possible. To understand your own personality type here, there's a link to the GameTree personality test below, and then you can reference back, but if you already know about this personality psychology theory, then continue forward. There are 4 overarching buckets of players, the first of which is explorers, and these people tend to be defined by being highly practical and spending a lot of their time in their senses. As a game master for this down-to-earth type, you should expect them to remember small details like retrieving a rope, using a potion when it's needed most, and so on, and to also reward them accordingly. Keep them in situations where they can succeed in the allocation of limited resources, such as rations and arrows, and require of them keen observations and quick thinking. As survivalists, they will seek self-preservation over good and evil. Explorer types are known to be highly into character design aesthetics, putting in time and effort into the creation process while also describing everything their character does in all of its gore and glory. Make them happy by bringing to life a vivid and detailed world in similar terms. Since explorers relish immersing in their senses and want to be prepared at any moment for anything, then they're often seen playing the following races and classes. ESTPs, the dynamic mavericks, are people who tend to be drawn a lot towards sports. They're quick-witted, live in the moment. They'll play races that are big, strong, and tough, and tend to be drawn towards physical classes. ISTPs, capable pragmatists, are a bit more thoughtful and technical versions of the ESTPs. ESFPs, enthusiastic improvisers, are just that. They love being the center of attention, acting, being dramatic. Then you have ISFPs, the sensuous protectors. They tend to be more introverted, very much of the real world, tend to hold individual identity to be very self-sacred. The next up is guardians, and these are people who are ready to protect. They tend to be known for their lawful, virtuous, and traditional playstyles. When games mastering for guardians, play with themes of law and justice, chaos versus order, tribe versus the greater good, and tradition versus progress, to maximize their fun. Do make sure there are always clear goals though. You can make things interesting by bringing in divine beings while fighting for holy missions of gods, serving as their hands of judgment and always ready to take ultimate sacrifice for the well-being of the team. Every DM should know that they draw lessons and inspiration from familiar tropes as starting points, so begin campaigns and sessions in a more vanilla way before descending deeper and deeper into the occult. Beware that this type has a strong memory for details, so use consistency in your game mechanics, plot, characters, and world design. ESTJs, efficient drivers, tend to be really good managers. They're on top of it, they're really good at routine, but also making sure everything gets done and good at working in groups. The races they play tend to be more order-abiding. ISTJs, responsible executors, are a bit more introverted versions of the ESTJs, with a stronger preference for routine, tradition, comfort, and safety, as opposed to going out and getting in everybody's face. ESFJs, the committed altruists, tend to really care for other people as a primary form of living, and also tend to enjoy stability. ISFJs, compassionate stewards, are a more traditional version of the ESFJs. The next quadrant of players are diplomats. These players enjoy abstract puzzles, especially with personal and large-scale moral implications. They will tell you the most important part of an adventure is the mission. These players want to feel like their cause is super important and can be counted on to help a bunch of people along the way in its completion. So make sure to place many opportunities for this into your game to show gratitude for their help. They'll come alive most in non-linear plots with a lot of role-playing and unpredictable tangents. As a game master, don't expect them to take as many harsh or cruel actions, since they'll often solve a problem with minimal to no fighting, or utilize their magic or guerrilla tactics to come up with unexpected solutions. They're as likely to feed and befriend those wolves in the forest as actually slay them. Since diplomats like to have many ways of overcoming obstacles besides direct conflict, they're most frequently seen playing as one of the following classes. ENFJ, an engaging mobilizer. ENFJs tend to be very outgoing, but also very socially appropriate and good diplomats themselves. INFJs, insightful supporters, tend to be very observant and thoughtful. With even just a small glance, they can get a lot of insight. ENFPs, impassioned evangelists, tend to see the big picture. They love being up on the soapbox, preaching, and getting really caught up in the fires of passion and emotion. INFPs, inspired idealists, are very big dreamers, but a little bit more introverted. They tend to be very passive, not wanting to force themselves on others, so they can sneak around the shadows and be able to take people out from a distance or from not being noticed. The final quadrant are known as rationals. And don't be afraid to get technical with these people because they definitely will. Representatives of this group adore having their limits pushed with puzzles and encounters. Just make sure no two of them are the same, because they love diversity. They love strategically combining things, so give them a lot of utility they can use. Let them taste extreme levels of power, but only as a reward for being clever. Even though they may forget to do these things in real life, streamline the game by assuming they will do potentially obvious actions like refilling water at a stream. This part of D&D isn't fun for them unless you explicitly push it to an extreme. Rationals may fight for either good or bad, without pledging too much of an allegiance to any side of a conflict, so keep an open and flexible mind when preparing your sessions. Since Rationals delight in designing powerful but fragile characters with lots of utility, they're frequently seen playing the following. In the case of ENTPs, Innovative Explorers, they love combining ideas, being a bit in the thick of the action, debating, discussing, and pushing on things. INTPs are a little less aggressive, and they love being thoughtful, exploring philosophy, and just seeing where their curiosity takes them. ENTJs, Strategic Directors, love harnessing the power of the group to see bigger visions get done. And lastly, we have the INTJ, the Visionary Mastermind. They prefer to pull the strings from the shadows but are willing to step up if it's needed, but they really just want to make sure that everything is done in the most optimal way possible by being able to manipulate all the circumstances of an environment to their advantage. Despite all the tendencies that I just mentioned, a lot of the beauty of role-playing games at the end of the day is being able to explore new ways of thinking, new ways of perceiving. So just as often as people play these classes, they might be a comfortable place to start from, but it's great to be able to branch out and do quite the opposite as a way to grow as a person. And remember while playing that you're part of a tribe, so really do appreciate all the different kinds of perspectives and experiences that different people bring to the table. An explorer can bring a lot of vivid imagery and resourcefulness to a party, whereas a diplomat might give a speech that's so rousing, so inspiring that a skill check isn't even needed. You might have a guardian who lays down their life to protect somebody, and it's just a very sentimental moment. Or you could have a rationalist who helps you optimize your character and squeeze a little bit out of your attribute maximization to be able to survive the most tough and close-knit encounters. And remember, if you're looking to join a group or for more players to join your existing group, then you can check out the GameTree app that we make, which helps you match with people not just based on common interests and tastes, but also playstyle and personality types as well. So with that said, I wish you epically fun adventures with awesome people. See you next time, and let's quest. So with that said, I wish... What was it again? Okay. What was I supposed to say? Thanks for watching. Let us know what you think in the comments below, and subscribe if you want to see more content like this in the future. See you next time.